Welcome to this explainer. You know, they always say domestic stability is the ultimate global currency, right? Well, today, we're looking at a prime example of exactly that. We are going to analyze India's rapidly evolving political and economic landscape and really look at how sweeping domestic shifts and unprecedented continuity are forging massive global alliances. It is a fascinating look at how what happens at home directly dictates power on the world stage.
Here is our roadmap for today. We're going to hit the 4,399-day milestone, dive into the politics of delivery, look at how the political map is being redrawn, and then see how this elevates global partnerships, specifically the French connection. Let's get right into it.
All right, Section 1, the 4,399-day milestone, surpassing historic tenures.
We're kicking things off with a highly specific number, one that literally just rewrote Indian political history. On June 10, 2026, Prime Minister Narendra Modi reached exactly 4,399 consecutive days in office. So why does that exact number matter so much? Because on that very day, he set a brand new national record for a continuously elected prime minister in India.
With that 4,399th day, he officially surpassed India's first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru, whose uninterrupted democratic tenure stood at 4,398 days. Now, a quick caveat here. Nehru actually remains the longest-serving prime minister overall, having served over 16 years from independence right up until his death. But the record for the longest unbroken stint after democratic elections, that has officially changed hands for the first time in over 6 decades.
And you know, this level of stability doesn't just happen overnight. It builds on a foundation of some other major milestones. For instance, our sources point out that Modi is the first prime minister actually born after independence. Plus, if you combine his current tenure with his 4,607 days as the chief minister of Gujarat, you're looking at over 9,000 total days as an elected head of government. To put that into perspective, guys, that is nearly 25 years of continuous executive leadership. In today's hyper-fast, constantly shifting global political climate, that kind of democratic continuity is basically unheard of. Add in 3 consecutive national mandates, and you've got an incredibly rare domestic anchor.
Which brings us to Section 2, the politics of delivery, the economic and welfare engine.
So what exactly fueled this massive mandate? Well, the economic bedrock here is vast. India's nominal GDP has basically doubled. We're talking a jump from roughly $2.02 trillion back in 2014 to an IMF projected $4.15 trillion in 2026. And right alongside that macroeconomic surge, per capita income rose from around $1,567 to an estimated $2,812 over the same period. What's absolutely crucial to remember here is that they maintained this upward trajectory despite facing some serious, unprecedented global headwinds. Think the COVID-19 pandemic and those massive supply chain disruptions.
So how exactly did the government translate that raw economic growth into actual political capital? Well, Cabinet Minister Piyush Goyal coined a great phrase for this era. He calls it the politics of delivery. According to our sources, the administration attributes its electoral success to a massive, sweeping expansion of welfare, opportunity, and essential services that go directly to the citizens. But, you know, what does this politics of delivery actually look like when you zoom in on the ground?
While the sheer volume of this delivery is staggering, we aren't just talking about thousands or even millions of people here. We are talking about hundreds of millions, 810 million people receiving free food grains. Just pause on that for a second. That is more than double the entire population of the United States, managed within a single welfare program. Add to that 580 million new bank accounts opened for financial inclusion and 160 million households getting tap water connections. We are looking at a logistical delivery system operating on a scale that is genuinely unparalleled globally.
All of this leads us to Section 3, redrawing the political map from regional to national dominance.
Because obviously this massive domestic delivery directly impacted the electoral map over the last 12 years. Notice how dramatically the ruling party expanded geographically. Back in 2014, the BJP governed just 7 states. Fast forward to 2026, and the party and its allies govern 22 states and union territories. They pushed way beyond their traditional Hindi heartland, unseating decades-old governments in places like Odisha and locking down strongholds in the northeast. And alongside this geographic spread, the party itself just swelled. With 140 million members, it is now literally the world's largest political party. It's an operational scale that fundamentally alters the domestic power dynamics.
And that pivots us to Section 4, elevating global partnerships, translating domestic stability into foreign policy.
See, when a country has this much rock-solid domestic stability, how it interacts with the rest of the world fundamentally changes. A perfect case study of this is India's relationship with France. During French President Emmanuel Macron's visit to India in February 2026, these two nations elevated their relationship to what they call a special global strategic partnership. Now, this isn't just fluffy diplomatic jargon, it's a major structural upgrade driven by a shared vision for global strategic autonomy. Both of these nations want to be independent power centers, and they are leveraging this partnership to build the exact technology and defense capabilities needed to make that a reality.
Let's dig into that with Section 5, the French Connection, a multi-layered strategic alliance.
Let's look at how this translates into hard defense and real technological integration. The defense milestones here are absolutely staggering, and they show a critical shift from India simply buying weapons to actually co-producing them. In early 2025, the Indian Navy commissioned the INS Vagshir, which is the final Scorpion-class submarine built with French collaboration. India is also picking up 26 Rafale M jets for its Navy. But perhaps the biggest game-changer for self-reliance? The French aerospace major Safran opened a massive aircraft engine, maintenance, repair, and overhaul facility right in Hyderabad, which is capable of servicing hundreds of engines locally.
But you know, this alliance goes way beyond traditional weapons. This partnership is a brilliant illustration of deep tech cross-pollination. Think about the digital sphere for a second. You can now literally buy a crepe beneath the Eiffel Tower using India's Unified Payments Interface, or UPI. It's wild. Up in space, they are jointly working on the Trishna Earth observation mission and exploring new launch vehicle tech. And down in healthcare, they've just launched the Indo-French Institute for AI in Global Health over in New Delhi. It is a complete, modern, 360-degree ecosystem of cooperation.
This bond is perfectly cemented by the 2026 India-France Year of Innovation, which the two leaders actually inaugurated together. As this image showcasing India's rich heritage reminds us, in modern geopolitics, soft power, like culture and history, and hard power, like tech and defense innovation, they aren't separated anymore. This partnership beautifully blends the celebration of India's deep historical roots with a relentless, forward-looking push toward cutting-edge advancements.
Which leaves us with this final thought. We've just seen how 4,399 days of unbroken leadership at home has fueled a massive economic engine, totally redrawn the political map, and allowed India to forge special global strategic partnerships with major world powers like France. So, armed with this truly unparalleled domestic continuity and these deep, evolving global alliances, exactly how will India's next chapter alter the international balance of power? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.